candy's sweet. 'Cause he never swears.
Well folks, right here we are. By Job, it's been a while, hasn't it, Michael? Yeah, over a bloody year, I think. But yeah, let's see if we can do a bit more on the musical side, because of late I have a bit more time on me hands. As a few of you will know, due to various things that's gone up in the last month. But anyway, what we're going to do today, well, I thought it'd be a good idea to tell you folk about an event that happened in about 1968. And the band Michael was playing in at the time was called Moonshine Jake. Now, some of you watching here might remember that, members of the Facebook and that, locals around Barnard Castle. But anyway, we weren't doing too bad. And it was late 68, I remember that. And we were doing all sorts of stuff, mainly rock. And I think one or two Cream songs. But anyway, and I was playing at the time a Premier double kit, which obviously who influenced me in that? Yeah, Mr. Moon, who I later, as some of you will know, went on to meet and got a drunk and drugged up drum lesson off him. But anyway, now the venue was the Locarno in Sunderland, Mecca, or whatever you want to call it, very popular. And now that used to be the stage at the Mecca, and it used to have 2 palm trees on either side of the stage. Well, one event that happened was that the singer from a well-known band called The Family, Roger Chapman, he bloody headbutted one of them palm trees and put about 7 stitches in his forehead after a visit to the Sunderland infirmary. He got himself sorted out. And we headed there as a support band. And at the time, the main act was the notorious Kinks. Now, the Kinks at the time had been banned from America for about 3 or 4 years, if I remember rightly. But not too sure. I can remember reading stuff years ago about that. But anyway, eventually we were all set up and ready to go on and that like, and the Kinks arrived. And at that time, it was still the original lineup of Ray and Dave Davis and Pete Quaife and Mick Avery on drums. Now, the following year, Pete Quaife left. He left the Kinks. But Mick Avery stayed with them for many years, I think into the 80s, can't remember. But I'll tell you now, the Kinks were one of the most professional bands on the circuit. Great sound, great sound. But unfortunately, at this event, the gear never turned up. Due to, I think it was inclement weather. Not too sure on that. But anyway, the boys arrived obviously by car. They didn't travel like the equipment did, and it was decided that they would use our gear, which was fine by us. But I did get approached by Mick Avery, who said to me, listen, if you don't mind, he says, I don't want a double kit. Just can you break down that kit into half a kit, and that'll do me nicely. So he said, thanks very much for that. And that was it. And that was it. Eventually we did our set, and then the Kinks came on. Here's a couple of pictures of Moonshine Shake, and this not very good quality. And the second one, that's what Michael looked at at the time, 1968, with his permed hair, which one of the girls in his mother's hairdressing shop did. Very good. An agonising bloody event. But yeah, we'll not get into that. So yeah, we went on first, and then there was a bit of a break, and then it was the Kinks came on using our gear, as their gear still hadn't arrived. And even so, using borrowed equipment. The Kinks were absolutely fantastic. What a sound they had. And you couldn't knock them for professionalism. There was a lot of friction in the band, as you well know, a lot of you. And Dave and Ray Davis, they didn't really get on. And Dave Davis, he never got on very well with Mick Avery. But Mick lasted till, as I say, the 80s. But anyway, we'll go further with this in a moment.
When I look up from my pillow, I dream you are there with me. Though you are far away, I know you'll always be near to me. I go to sleep, sleep, and imagine that you're there with me. I go to sleep, sleep, and imagine that you're there with me. I met her in the club down in Old Soho, where you drink champagne and it tastes just like cherry cola. C-O-L-A cola. She walked up to me and she asked me to dance. I asked her her name, and in a dark brown voice she said Lola. L-O-L-A Lola. La 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 Lola. Well, I'm not the world's most physical guy, but when she squeezed me tight, she nearly broke my spine. Oh my Lola, la 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 Lola. Well, I'm not dumb, but I can't understand why she walked like a woman and talked like a man. Oh my Lola.
Now, coming back to the story, what I want to go on to say about is many years later, in fact, I think it was 1993, 94, early 94, and Michael had moved out, had come back from living in Spain. I was living with my sister for a period of time, and then I moved into this place, 55A Oxford Gardens, just off Ladbroke Grove, near Portobello and in the vicinity of Notting Hill. Now, this big house here, I lived at the right hand side of the staircase and the basement flat. Now, the ground floor was occupied by quite a well-known musician called Barry Adamson, Manchester lad. Grew up in Moss Side, but went to play for Magazine, quite a well-known band in Manchester, and various other, before becoming a top producer. So, yeah. Now then, these two small houses on the left-hand side, they were owned by Joe Strummer from The Clash. And the neighbours on the other side of the staircase, they introduced me at a party one night to Joe, and I became quite a good friend. In part of them two houses, he had a recording studio, which he used to give us some work now and again, and I used to record stuff for him in them studios and other places around London, studio work. Great bloke, great bloke. Which was great. And in the basement window, I had a big double kit of Remo set up. I did various work in my London days, but I had to substitute it by working for a transport company, Hoyes. And I went on their SO contract at West London to help the finances where I was living, because that place was in Notting Hill, just off Ladbroke Grove, so it was an arm and a leg. So anyway, I at the time was doing a lot of socialising in a pub up Westbourne Park Road called The Cow. And their speciality was oysters and a pint of Guinness. I can't remember the price. I think it could have been a tenner, easy. But there you go. And I regularly used to go in there to meet a good friend, an ex-BBC cameraman called Richard Turry. Now Richard, he eventually came to Thailand to do some filming. I think I've mentioned him a long time ago, and he came up to do something about the sunken temple in on the side of the Mekong, way up in Nong Khai area. So anyway, normally it would be afternoon, early afternoon, I would saunter up Westbourne Park Road to The Cow, and it was a very, very popular place. And it was run by Tim Conrad. Conran. His father was quite a famous chap. But anyway, getting back to the story, I remember once going in there and sat at a table at the side. I noticed two characters. One of them was Damon Hill, and he was sat with Nick Mason, the drummer from Pink Floyd. Obviously Nick Mason's a bit of a car buff, and so apparently they were big buddies. And Pink Floyd's offices, London offices, were only round the corner from where The Cow was situated. So you got all sorts of people in there. Well, this day that I went in to meet Richard at some stage, whether he turned up or whether he didn't, But anyway, sat on a table on his own was Ray Davies. Now, nowadays, it's Sir Ray Davies, and rightly so, because he's a legend in the old 60s songwriting, and even in the 70s, 80s onwards. He's never stopped being a bloody hero for me. Some great hits. And Michael being Michael, went over and said, do you mind if I have 5 minutes conversation with you, Ray? He said, no. I said, I'm waiting for a friend of mine coming, but obviously he's running a bit late. But no, come, please sit down. Which I did do. And obviously, one of the topics of conversation was, could he remember the time in 1968 and the venue they did at Sunderland where the gear never turned up. Now, I thought he would just say, no, I can't, but he said, yes, I do remember that, because Mick wasn't too happy about playing this kit of drums, because he was a strict Ludwig man, and had been for years. He was sponsored by Ludwig, and yeah, he was a bit perturbed about using this kit. But yeah, he said, yeah, I have vague memories of that. And so there you are. So many years later, you know, you meet an icon of the music business, just sat at a table in a bar, minding his own business, reading a magazine, and then you sit down and you have a bit conversation with him. So there you are, just a bit story from my episodes in the music business. I hope you enjoyed it. I won't say keep watching, because it's not that bloody often, is it? But anyway, it's something, isn't it? And we'll try and get round to doing some more of the old tales of the music business. So, thanks for watching. And hopefully, I'll see you again. Bye for now.
Thank you for the days, those endless days, those sacred days you gave me. I'm thinking of the days I won't forget a single day, believe me. I bless the light, I bless the light that lights on you, believe me. And though you're gone, you're with me every single day, believe me. Days I'll remember all my life, days when you can't see wrong from right. You took my life, but then I knew that very soon you'd leave me. But it's alright, now I'm not frightened of this world, believe me. I wish today would be tomorrow. The night is dark, it just brings sorrow, let it wait. Thank you for the days, those endless days, those sacred days you gave me.